Today I'm going to give an introduction in how to set up saving and loading in your game, and then I'm going to put out a following video where we'll go into more detail on how to do an advanced save system, which has multiple save files and more complex data getting saved, so stay tuned for that. So the bulk of the logic here is going to actually exist in these two functions I'm showing right now, which is read save file and write save file. So for read save file, we're going to pass in the file path of the file that we want to read, and we're going to be outputting a dictionary. First, we check if the file exists at the file path, because if it doesn't, then we can't read it, and we just return an empty dictionary. Otherwise, if it doesn't exist, we're going to read the file and store it as my save file, and then we're going to convert that to text, calling get as text. So if that's empty, then we still return an empty dictionary. Just kind of saves us a few steps of processing if we already know that there's no text in the file. So if it's not empty, then we're going to do a json.parseString, and we're going to convert the string version of our file contents into a dictionary, which is very handy. And if that is set, basically saying if it's non-empty or if it's non-null, then we return the dictionary, and if it is, then we return an empty dictionary. Every step of this, I'm giving the chance to opt out and return an empty dictionary if we're not successful in the reading. It might be a little bit overkill. Feel free to take out parts and experiment and see if you can get away with less, but I thought this was a good amount of safety. Okay, so write save file. Now we're going to be passing in the same file path. So these two, we'd want the exact same file path if we're reading and writing to the same data. So in write save file, we are creating a variable, my save file, and how we then define save file, my save file, depends on if we're doing the append or not. Are we going to write or are we going to do a read write? In this case, we're going to do a write because we're assuming no append. But if we were doing append, read write, so we could get to the end of the file and then start writing from that point instead of just writing over the whole thing. And then we check if the data is a dictionary, and if it is, we call json.stringify on the data. Okay, and then we do mySaveFile.storeString data, and so we had data, the dictionary converted to a string, and now we're going to store it in the save file, either over what was there before if it was write, or at the end if it was read write, if it was append. And then we close the file so that the file is just not sitting open. So yeah, that's basically all you need for that. So here I have basically all the information you're going to need. This is from the example with the vineyard clicker, the idle clicker, where the number just goes up based on how many fruits you've harvested. So every time you click, you get 1, 2, or 3 fruits, and the number goes up accordingly. So on ready, there's two relevant things we do. We read the score data. So when we're loading in the game, we update the score data to whatever is stored if something's stored. And then we connect tree exiting to store the score data. And then we also have the functions I mentioned. So read score data, very interesting here. This is basically just getting a dictionary value called data that is the output of calling read save file on game data path. Game data path I defined up here is just the path user://mydata.json. I will also point out we have harvest count key, which is just a string fruits harvested, because that's going to come up in a minute. So when we're reading the score data, we are getting this dictionary data from the file game data path. And then we're just checking if data, the dictionary, has harvest count key, which is just that string, then we're going to take fruits harvested and assign it to the integer conversion of data harvest count key. So what I'm doing here is I'm not taking for granted that the variable has been set in the dictionary already. If this is your first time loading the game, it's not going to be there. You're not even going to get anything out of data. Data is going to be empty. So by checking this, I'm making sure that I'm not going to crash the game by trying to read from a dictionary that's empty, a variable that doesn't exist there. So I add this extra check if data has the key. And then I'm doing a conversion of integer because numbers that are stored in a JSON file always get read in as floats, even if they're integers as you'd expect them to be. So just casting integer, it could be a string, it could be a float, it could be an integer. You're going to get out an integer, which is what we want for fruits harvested. So there'll be no issues with type conversions here because we handled it. So if you're storing a float, you don't have to do this. You can just say fruits harvested is equal to data harvest count key without the conversion. If you were doing an enumeration, I think I will show that in the advanced video because that one's a little more tricky. So on the other hand, we have store score data. So this is what we called when tree is exiting. And for this one, we make an empty dictionary called data, and we're just merging in the harvest count key and fruits harvested. So the string up above and then an integer number fruits harvested. We don't cast this to a float. We can just pass it as an integer and it all gets handled and converted to a float. And then we're calling the save and load write save file, passing in that same path again and the data we just constructed. So this could be, I just merged one value with a key, but I could have done 100. I could have had dictionaries of dictionaries all getting stored together, but sweet and simple. We have one value, we put it into a dictionary format, we call write save file, and now it's there. One additional thing I have in this example up here, in addition to the tree exiting store score data, I do a call deferred of the function store score data if we are in the web operating system. So we call if os.getName is equal to web, then we know that we're running in web. Then we will call as a deferred, because it's not time considerate, we don't need to do a blocking write to a save file. We just, when we have time, we call deferred to say store score data. I think call deferred is a really great thing to use here because it's an idle clicker game. There's going to be a lot of downtime where there's not really much going on in the game. And it's very easy to just find the time to do a write to file because these are relatively expensive operations to be doing. Anytime it changes, this gets called. That's a lot. That's a lot of calling. That's like the only thing that happens in the game is the number goes up. So it's not something I wanted to do. However, the tree exiting never really happens when you close out of a web browser. It's just instantly gone and you don't really get the opportunity to save. So I was willing to take a hit to the performance of this idle clicker game and save your score every single time it updates because I thought that was better than leaving and then having to start over from nothing the next time you come into it. One other thing is the game data path being user://mydata.json. If you just had, for an example, some content, let's just say, here we have some content that I'm pulling from the right-hand side. Oh, it did it as a UID, but we'll do it like this. So here you can see the path to this asset, this UI frame, is a resource : //. So here for the save data, we want to have user : //. Basically, the resource path is going to be stuff that's internal to the game encryption, and the user path is going to be explicit file location. Okay, so you go to the options here, /options, and then you can enable under view, show hidden files, folders, and drives under hidden files, folders, and drives, advanced settings. So if you enable this, then you'll see the app data directory, but it's kind of grayed out because it's telling me, hey, this is supposed to be hidden. So go in here, app data, go into roaming. You can scroll down to Godot here and app user data. So in here, I have a directory for every Godot project I've ever run on this computer. And if you go into the specific game, which is the folder directory is based on the project name, not based on directory name that you saved it into. So here I would need to scroll down to Vineyard Clicker. So here it is, Vineyard Clicker. I maybe could zoom in. Vineyard Clicker, and here you can see a file called my data. So if I pop this open, you can see there's the JSON dictionary, fruits harvested is 12. So the way you'd find out where can I find this user data path, it's actually in the Godot docs. So in the Godot docs, I will include a link to this page as well. You can see file paths and Godot projects, and this will explain the pathing, but it's nothing more than really what I showed here. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments down below. Stay tuned for the next video where I'll go into more advanced save and load.